the most dangerous vegetable that raises blood sugar levels. Always avoid it. Have you ever stopped to think that some foods that seem harmless could be silently sabotaging your health? Many times they're on our plate every single day, hiding a dangerous impact on our blood glucose levels. What you eat today could be speeding up problems that will only show up in the future. And the most surprising part is that in some cases, the risk comes from foods that most people consider natural or even healthy. Before revealing which vegetable is the most dangerous for blood sugar control, we're going to go through a list of other foods that also have a devastating effect on metabolism. Some of them you might already suspect, but others might completely take you by surprise. The danger is often in the details no one tells you about. Throughout this video, we'll show how certain ingredients act inside your body, causing sugar spikes, inflaming your cells, and weakening insulin sensitivity. Understanding this could be the difference between staying healthy or opening the door to serious problems. At every step, you'll realize it's not just the excess of sweets or desserts that threatens your blood sugar balance. The problem is much bigger and, in some cases, even more insidious because it involves foods that seem harmless but hide destructive potential. Get ready to be surprised, because what we're going to reveal will change the way you look at your diet. What's coming could transform your relationship with food forever and give you the tools to make smarter and safer choices. So, welcome to another episode of Heal Essence, where you will discover the vegetable that raises blood sugar levels. And more than that, you will receive first-hand key answers for maintaining your health from one of the most respected doctors. Number 18. Industrialized chocolate drinks. Industrialized chocolate drinks are seen as a harmless beverage to go with breakfast or an afternoon snack, but the reality is very different. Most of these products are made almost entirely of sugar, with very little or no real pure cocoa. This means that, with every sip, you're taking in an absurd amount of simple carbohydrates that are quickly absorbed by the body. This rapid absorption leads to dangerous spikes in blood glucose, overloading the pancreas, and requiring intense insulin production. On top of that, many chocolate drinks contain artificial sweeteners and high-fructose corn syrup, which also affect metabolism. Even if the label says sugar-free, that doesn't mean it's healthy. Constant consumption of these beverages can impair insulin sensitivity and pave the way for insulin resistance and even type 2 diabetes. The problem gets worse when these products are consumed by children, who from an early age develop a palate conditioned to excessive sweetness. Another alarming point is the false sense of nutritional value that many chocolate drinks give. Some manufacturers add vitamins and minerals to strengthen the product's image, but that doesn't make up for the excess sugar and chemical additives. Cocoa, which should be the main ingredient, appears in minimal amounts, often less than 10% of the total composition. This means that the natural benefits of pure cocoa, such as antioxidants that help protect the heart and brain, are simply not present in a meaningful way. The glycemic impact of chocolate drinks is so high that even when consumed with milk, they still cause rapid increases in blood glucose. Milk contains lactose, a natural sugar, which, combined with the sugar in the chocolate drink, intensifies this effect even more. For those who already have pre-diabetes or want to keep their blood sugar under control, this is a dangerous combination. Over time, this habit can lead to constant peaks and drops in energy, making the person feel hungry faster and increasing calorie intake throughout the day. It's also worth noting that many industrialized chocolate drinks contain hydrogenated fats, which raise bad cholesterol, LDL, and harm cardiovascular health. Frequent consumption not only affects blood sugar, but also compromises the circulatory system. This mix of sugar and bad fat creates the perfect environment for fat buildup in the liver, hardening of the arteries, and an increased risk of serious chronic diseases. In addition to sugar and fat, chocolate drinks are rich in artificial colors, stabilizers, and preservatives, substances that, although authorized for consumption, bring no benefit to the body. On the contrary, in some people they can cause allergic reactions, headaches, and even interfere with mood. The problem is that since these effects are not immediate, many continue consuming them without realizing the accumulated damage over the years. A much healthier alternative is to choose pure cocoa powder with no added sugar, which retains the antioxidants and characteristic chocolate flavor. With it, you can sweeten moderately with honey, stevia, or even dates, drastically reducing the drink's glycemic impact. This simple swap can already improve blood sugar control and provide beneficial compounds for health, such as flavonoids that support heart health and brain function. Therefore, if you want to protect your health and avoid dangerous increases in glucose, eliminate industrialized chocolate drinks from your routine. They are a classic example of a highly processed product created to please the palate, but with no concern for the consumer's health. Choosing more natural and less sugary ingredients is not just a matter of aesthetics or dieting. It's a decision that can prevent serious diseases and ensure more energy and well-being in your daily life. Number 17. Energy drinks. Energy drinks have gained popularity in recent years, especially among young people and adults seeking more energy for work, study, or physical activity. However, what many people ignore is that these products carry an extremely high load of sugar and caffeine, creating a combination that can be extremely dangerous for blood sugar control. Each may contain the equivalent of several teaspoons of sugar, which is rapidly absorbed, causing alarming spikes in glucose and overloading the pancreas. The caffeine, present in doses much higher than in regular coffee, further intensifies this effect. This is because, in addition to stimulating the central nervous system, caffeine can temporarily increase insulin resistance, making it harder for the body to regulate blood sugar. This double action, excess sugar and concentrated caffeine, creates the perfect scenario for sharp fluctuations in energy, followed by abrupt drops that make the person feel hungrier and crave carbohydrates quickly. Another worrying factor is that even the sugar-free versions sold as healthier use artificial sweeteners that can alter gut microbiota and affect glucose metabolism. Studies already indicate that sweeteners like sucralose and aspartame can cause insulin resistance in some people, especially when consumed in large quantities and constantly. So, switching from a traditional energy drink to a sugar-free one doesn't eliminate the risks to metabolic health. Beyond the impact on blood sugar, energy drinks directly affect the cardiovascular system. The combination of caffeine and sugar raises blood pressure and speeds up the heartbeat, which can cause dangerous arrhythmias, especially in people with undiagnosed heart problems. This overload also encourages fat accumulation in the liver and chronic inflammation, two factors that, over time, increase the risk of type 2 diabetes and heart disease. Another point to consider is how these drinks are consumed. Many people drink energy drinks mixed with alcoholic beverages, which not only increases the risks for the liver and heart, but also masks the feeling of drunkenness, leading to dangerous behavior. This combination is even more harmful for blood sugar control, since alcohol and sugar compete for metabolism in the liver, generating intense metabolic stress. Energy drinks also contain additional additives and stimulants, such as taurine and guarana, which, when combined with caffeine, enhance the effects on the nervous system. While these compounds on their own may have some benefits, the amount present in these drinks is much higher than what would be considered safe on a daily basis. This causes excessive stimulation that harms sleep and hormonal balance, indirectly impacting blood sugar regulation. A healthier alternative for those seeking energy is to go for natural caffeine sources, such as brewed coffee or green tea, without sugar. In addition, prioritizing hydration with water and maintaining a balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins ensures more steady energy throughout the day, without the roller coaster effect energy drinks cause. Replacing an energy drink with a natural beverage is a powerful step toward protecting your health. Therefore, if you want to keep your body functioning steadily and avoid metabolic damage, rethink your consumption of energy drinks. They are not just a matter of momentary excess energy, they represent a real and silent risk to your blood sugar, your heart, and even your liver. Making more conscious choices can be the difference between keeping your health balanced or facing serious problems in the future. Number 16. Hamburger buns or hot dog buns. Hamburger buns and hot dog buns may seem harmless, but they hide a significant impact on blood sugar. These breads are made with refined flour, which goes through an industrial process that removes practically all the fiber and nutrients. The result is a food with a high glycemic index, capable of releasing glucose into the bloodstream very quickly. For those who need to control blood sugar, this represents a constant risk of dangerous glucose spikes. Another critical point is that these breads often contain added sugars to improve flavor and texture. This means that in addition to the simple carbs from white flour, you're also taking in more hidden sugar, which further worsens the effect on blood sugar. This combination makes the body release large amounts of insulin to try to balance sugar levels, encouraging the development of insulin resistance over time. Beyond the glycemic impact, hamburger and hot dog buns often contain refined vegetable oils and, in some cases, hydrogenated fats. These ingredients not only increase the calorie content, but also contribute to inflammation in the body and cholesterol imbalance. When combined with processed fillings such as hot dogs, ultra-processed burgers, and sugary sauces, the negative impact on health multiplies. The problem is not just in the bread itself, but in the context in which it's eaten. Usually, hamburger or hot dog buns are part of meals rich in sodium, saturated fat, and chemical additives, creating a perfect storm for metabolism. The result is a rapid increase in glucose, followed by a sharp drop, leading to more hunger and craving for carbs within a few hours. Another worrying factor is that these breads are low in fiber and protein, which means they don't provide long-lasting satiety. On the contrary, they encourage eating more calories throughout the day, promoting weight gain. Excess body fat, especially abdominal fat, is directly linked to insulin resistance and the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. In other words, hamburger buns don't just cause momentary harm, they impact health cumulatively. For those looking for alternatives, there are more nutritious options with a lower impact on blood sugar, such as whole grain sourdough bread. These breads retain fiber and micronutrients and are digested more slowly, avoiding sharp spikes in blood sugar. Switching from traditional bread to a high-quality whole grain version is already an important step for protecting metabolism. Another practical solution is to replace bread with low-glycemic options, such as whole grain wraps, lettuce leaves, or even slices of grilled vegetables. These choices not only reduce the glycemic impact, but also increase fiber and vitamin intake, promoting better dietary balance. Small changes on the plate can bring big results for health. Therefore, if the goal is to keep blood sugar stable and reduce the risk of metabolic diseases, avoiding frequent consumption of hamburger or hot dog buns is essential. They are a classic example of a highly processed food created to please the taste buds, but that comes at a high cost to the body. Choosing more natural and nutrient-rich versions is a smart choice to ensure more energy and long-term well-being. Number 15. Ready-made sauces. Ready-made sauces like ketchup and barbecue sauce are among the most consumed condiments in the world, but they're also among the most deceptive for anyone looking to stay healthy and control blood sugar. The vast majority of these options contain high amounts of added sugar, which often goes unnoticed by taste because it's mixed with salty or smoky flavors. This sugar, however, is quickly absorbed, triggering dangerous spikes in blood glucose. Another serious problem is that these sauces are rich in high-fructose corn syrup, a cheap ingredient used by the food industry to sweeten and give more body to the product. When consumed in excess, fructose is metabolized directly by the liver, promoting fat buildup in the liver and increasing the risk of insulin resistance. The result is a negative impact not only on blood sugar control, but also on long-term liver health. In addition to sugar, many ready-made sauces have high sodium levels, which in excess can raise blood pressure and damage the cardiovascular system. This overload of salt and sugar combined is even more dangerous, as it creates a favorable environment for chronic inflammation in the body. Those who consume these condiments regularly end up exposing themselves to cumulative risks for the heart, pancreas, and liver. Barbecue sauces, in particular, tend to be even more problematic because in addition to sugar and sodium, they also contain chemical additives and artificial colorings that offer no nutritional value. These compounds, although approved for food use, can cause adverse reactions in sensitive individuals, including headaches, fluid retention, and imbalances in gut flora. This disruption of the microbiota also affects glucose metabolism, creating an indirect but significant effect. It's worth remembering that even small amounts of these sauces can represent a significant glycemic load. 1 tablespoon of ketchup, for example, can contain up to a teaspoon of sugar, and no one stops at just 1 spoonful when the sauce is available. This means that without realizing it, it's easy to add too much sugar to a meal, especially when the sauce is paired with foods already rich in simple carbs, like bread or French fries. A healthier alternative is to make homemade sauces using fresh tomatoes, natural seasonings, and a touch of olive oil. This version keeps the antioxidants and vitamins present in tomatoes, but without the harmful sugars and additives found in industrialized options. The flavor can be adapted to personal taste, reducing salt and eliminating artificial ingredients. Another practical tip is to replace ready-made sauces with simpler, more nutritious condiments, like sugar-free mustard, seasoned olive oil, or even guacamole. These options not only reduce glycemic impact, but also increase the intake of healthy fats and important micronutrients. Swapping ketchup or barbecue sauce for natural alternatives is a strategic step toward protecting your health. Therefore, if the goal is to keep blood sugar stable and avoid overloading the body, reducing or eliminating the consumption of ready-made sauces is essential. They represent a silent danger disguised as a simple side dish, but in practice can be a major saboteur of metabolic health. Choosing fresh, less processed ingredients is always the best route for those who want more energy, blood sugar control, and well-being in daily life. Number 14. Sugary breakfast cereals. Sugary breakfast cereals are sold as a practical and often healthy option to start the day, but the truth is they're among the most harmful foods for blood sugar. Despite the colorful packaging and promises of vitamins and minerals, most of these products are made up of large amounts of sugar and refined flour. This means that first thing in the morning, you may already be causing a sharp blood glucose spike. The problem is that once consumed, these cereals go through extremely fast digestion and absorption, raising glucose levels in just minutes. The body responds by releasing a large amount of insulin to try to normalize levels, but this fluctuation causes a sudden drop in energy shortly after. The result is fatigue, early hunger, and cravings for more carbs, creating a dangerous, vicious cycle for metabolism. In addition to the obvious sweet taste, many cereals contain hidden sugars disguised on labels under names like corn syrup, maltodextrin, or molasses. These ingredients have the same effect on blood sugar, even if the word sugar doesn't appear in the ingredient list. Frequent consumption can increase the risk of insulin resistance, weight gain, and over time, type 2 diabetes. Another aggravating factor is the low fiber content in industrialized cereals. Fiber is essential to slow down the absorption of carbohydrates, but in sugary cereals, it's removed during processing. Without fiber, the glycemic impact is even higher and satiety is reduced. This means that even a small serving can harm blood sugar control and encourage overeating throughout the day. The versions aimed at children are even more concerning. Many contain artificial colors, flavorings, and preservatives, ingredients that offer no nutritional benefit and may cause adverse effects. Starting the day with sugary cereals conditions the taste buds to crave excessive sweetness from an early age, making healthy choices harder in the future and making it more difficult to maintain a balanced diet. For those who enjoy cereals for breakfast, there are much better alternatives. Options like whole oats, homemade sugar-free granola, and quinoa flakes retain fiber, minerals, and have a low glycemic index. When combined with fresh fruit and seeds, they provide gradual energy, avoiding abrupt glucose spikes and crashes. Switching from sugary cereals to a natural version is a simple change with immediate health benefits. Another tip is to always check the label before buying. Even cereals marketed as whole grain can contain large amounts of sugar. Ideally, choose products with a short ingredient list, no artificial additives, and at least 3 grams of fiber per serving. This helps maintain blood sugar control and promotes longer-lasting satiety. Therefore, if the goal is to maintain steady energy and protect metabolic health, avoid sugary breakfast cereals. They're a common trap, often linked to a quick and practical breakfast, but they come at a high cost to the body. Making this swap is a key step for anyone who wants to start the day with more balance and vitality. Number 13. Fast food. Fast food meals like burgers, nuggets, and fries are among the biggest enemies of metabolic health. These foods are rich in simple carbs, bad fats, and sodium, a combination that causes quick blood sugar spikes while also triggering inflammation in the body. The white bread in burgers, the high-starch fries, and the breading on nuggets all quickly raise glucose levels, forcing the pancreas to work hard to produce insulin. On top of that, fast food is often cooked in reused refined vegetable oils, which produce toxic compounds when heated repeatedly. These compounds increase oxidative stress and directly affect insulin sensitivity, worsening the risk of insulin resistance. Eating this type of meal regularly creates the perfect environment for developing type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Another concerning factor is the high calorie density of these foods. Even in small portions, the calorie content is high, and because they're low in fiber and quality protein, they don't provide lasting satiety. This leads to higher calorie intake throughout the day and weight gain, especially abdominal fat, which is directly linked to elevated blood sugar and chronic inflammation. The glycemic impact of fast food is made worse by sugary sauces, soft drinks, and equally harmful sides. Many people consume the full combo, burger, fries, and sweetened drink, resulting in a massive metabolic overload in just one meal. Glucose spikes, insulin rises, and shortly after, a sharp drop leaves you tired and craving more food. Frequent consumption also affects the liver, which has to handle excess saturated fat and simple sugars in these meals. Over time, this can lead to fat buildup in the liver, known as fatty liver disease, which is strongly linked to blood sugar issues and diabetes risk. In other words, fast food harms not only immediate health, but also long-term balance. One practical way to reduce the impact is to replace industrialized versions with homemade options made with whole ingredients and healthier cooking methods, like grilling or baking. This way, you can drastically cut the glycemic load, bad fats, and sodium. Plus, making your own meals lets you add more vegetables and fiber, helping to control blood sugar. Another strategy is to limit fast food to rare occasions and never pair it with sugary drinks. Choosing water or unsweetened tea already significantly reduces the meal's metabolic impact. Small changes like this can make a big difference in blood sugar control and disease prevention. Therefore, if the goal is to keep blood sugar stable and avoid overloading the body, drastically reducing fast food consumption is essential. These meals may be convenient and tasty, but they come with a high health cost, especially for those already struggling with blood sugar control. Choosing more balanced alternatives is a key step to protecting your metabolism and ensuring steady energy throughout the day. Number 12. Pizza. Pizza is one of the most beloved dishes in the world, but it's also one of the most dangerous for anyone trying to keep blood sugar under control. Traditional crust is made with refined white flour, which has a high glycemic index and is quickly converted into glucose in the blood. This causes intense spikes, requiring a large release of insulin. For people with insulin resistance or pre-diabetes, this impact can be especially harmful. The problem isn't just in the crust, but in the combination with industrial sauces and processed toppings. The ready-made tomato sauce used in most pizzas usually contains added sugars and chemical additives. When you combine that sugar with the simple carbs from the crust, you get a meal with high potential to destabilize blood sugar. On top of that, many popular toppings like processed meats and ultra-processed cheeses are high in saturated fats and sodium. Excess fats increase inflammation in the body and harm insulin sensitivity. High sodium raises blood pressure, creating a double negative impact on cardiovascular health and metabolism. Another critical point is calorie density. Even a seemingly small slice can have hundreds of calories but little nutritional value. This means that despite being calorie-heavy, pizza doesn't keep you full for long, leading to more food intake throughout the day and gradual weight gain, especially in the abdominal area. Eating pizza frequently, especially at night, can make the problem even worse. At night, metabolism slows down and the body tends to store more fat. If the meal is already rich in simple carbs and bad fats, the impact on blood sugar and weight is even greater. Regularly eating pizza can become a trigger for chronic metabolic imbalances. One way to reduce the damage is to opt for whole grain or sourdough crusts, which have more fiber and digest more slowly. You can also make homemade sauces without sugar and use more nutritious toppings like vegetables, lean cheeses, and lean proteins. These changes lower the glycemic index and increase the meal's nutritional value. Another smart strategy is portion control. Often, the problem isn't just the pizza itself, but how much of it is eaten. Eating in moderation and balancing it with salads or raw veggies can help reduce both glycemic and calorie impact. Therefore, if the goal is to protect metabolic health and keep blood sugar steady, pizza should be an occasional and conscious choice. By making homemade versions and controlling the ingredients, you can enjoy the flavor without compromising your body as much. However, traditional white crust pizza with ultra-processed toppings should be avoided as much as possible by those wanting to maintain glycemic balance and prevent disease. Number 11. Sugary granola. Granola is often associated with a healthy lifestyle, but when it comes to industrialized, sugary versions, the picture changes completely. These granolas can contain high amounts of sugar and syrups, turning what should be a nutritious food into a real danger for blood sugar. Every spoonful can hide more simple carbs than you might think, causing significant glucose spikes right after consumption. The problem starts with the fact that many brands use glucose syrup, molasses, and even brown sugar in excess to improve flavor and crunch. Even though some of these ingredients seem natural, the glycemic impact is still high, quickly raising blood sugar levels. For anyone trying to control blood sugar or prevent insulin resistance, sugary granolas can be a silent enemy. Another aggravating factor is that sugary granola is often eaten in large quantities, especially when paired with sweetened yogurts, high glycemic fruits, or even extra honey. This combo creates a meal with an extremely high glycemic load, overworking the pancreas and increasing insulin production, encouraging fat storage, especially around the abdomen. Industrialized versions also contain refined vegetable oils and, in some cases, hydrogenated fats, which contribute to chronic inflammation in the body. These oils worsen insulin sensitivity and harm cardiovascular health. Combined with excess sugar, they create the perfect formula for throwing metabolism out of balance. Another critical point is that, because it's marketed as a fitness food, many people eat sugary granola without moderation, thinking they're making a healthy choice. This false sense of security is dangerous, as it hides the negative effects on blood sugar. Over time, daily consumption can contribute to prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. The best alternative is to make homemade granola, controlling the ingredients and avoiding excess sweeteners. Using whole oats, nuts, seeds, and unsweetened dried fruits creates a nutritious, high-fiber, low-glycemic food. This version provides gradual energy and helps keep you full for longer. Another tip is to always read the label before buying. Choose options with less than 5 grams of sugar per serving and no hydrogenated oils. The shorter and more recognizable the ingredient list, the better for your health. Reducing consumption of industrialized versions is already an important step toward keeping blood sugar under control. Therefore, if the goal is truly to adopt a healthy diet, sugary granola should be avoided. Replacing it with natural, balanced versions is a simple and effective way to protect metabolism, prevent glucose spikes, and keep energy steady throughout the day. Small changes like this have a huge impact on long-term health. Number 10. Industrialized cakes and pies. Industrialized cakes and pies are extremely popular for their convenience and flavor, but they hide a nutritional profile that is highly damaging to metabolic health. The base of these recipes is made with refined white flour and large amounts of sugar, creating a food with a high glycemic index. This means that when you eat them, your blood glucose rises quickly, requiring an intense production of insulin to stabilize levels. The problem is worsened by the use of hydrogenated fats or refined vegetable oils found in both the batter and the toppings. These bad fats raise LDL cholesterol and trigger inflammation in the body, harming insulin sensitivity. Combined with excess sugar, they create the perfect setting for insulin resistance and fat buildup, especially in the abdominal area. Another concerning factor is the use of ultra-processed fillings and toppings. Ready-made frostings, creams, and ganache are loaded with added sugars, artificial colors, and flavorings, which offer no nutritional value and can even trigger adverse reactions. These ingredients worsen the cake's glycemic impact and increase the amount of empty calories consumed. Frequent consumption of industrialized cakes and pies also interferes with satiety. Because they're low in fiber and protein, they don't keep hunger away for long. This leads to greater calorie intake throughout the day and repeated blood sugar spikes and crashes, which harm both energy levels and mood. This roller coaster effect is a silent enemy of metabolism. Another important point is that these products are usually extremely high in calories. A single slice can exceed 300 calories, yet due to their low nutritional density, they provide little to no vitamins, minerals, or antioxidants. That means you're consuming a lot of calories without giving your body quality fuel. To reduce the damage, you can opt for homemade versions using whole grain flours, natural sweeteners, and quality oils such as olive oil or coconut oil. Adding fresh fruits and nuts also boosts fiber and nutrient content, lowering the glycemic index and promoting greater satiety. Another strategy is to limit consumption to special occasions, avoiding the habit of including cakes and pies in daily meals. This way, the glycemic and caloric impact becomes occasional and easier to offset with a balanced diet. Therefore, if the goal is to keep blood sugar under control and prevent metabolic diseases, avoiding industrialized cakes and pies is essential. They are a classic example of a high glycemic, low nutritional value food that can be easily replaced with healthier homemade alternatives. Making conscious choices daily is the best way to protect your body and maintain stable energy. Number 9. Industrialized ice cream. Ice cream is one of the most beloved desserts in the world, but industrialized versions are far from harmless. The combination of excessive sugar, saturated fats, and chemical additives creates a product with a very high impact on blood sugar and metabolic health. Even a seemingly small serving is enough to cause sharp spikes in blood glucose, requiring a strong insulin response from the body. The base of industrialized ice cream is made from sugary syrups and milk, which already ensures a significant load of simple carbs. But the problem gets worse with the addition of toppings, syrups, and chunks of candy, which raise the glycemic index even more. For people with insulin resistance, pre-diabetes, or diabetes, frequent consumption can speed up the progression of these conditions. Another aggravating factor is the use of hydrogenated fats and refined vegetable oils to improve texture and extend shelf life. These bad fats not only compromise cardiovascular health, but also negatively affect insulin sensitivity. The combination of sugar and bad fats makes industrialized ice cream a highly inflammatory food. Chemical additives like coloring, flavoring, and stabilizers also deserve attention. While approved for use, they offer no nutritional benefit and can, in some people, cause adverse reactions, including digestive problems and mood changes. Regular consumption also overloads the liver, which must process these substances along with a heavy sugar and fat load. Eating industrialized ice cream also undermines satiety. Because it's low in fiber and protein, it doesn't keep hunger away for long. This leads to greater calorie intake over the day, creating an overconsumption cycle that contributes to weight gain and abdominal fat, a direct risk factor for type 2 diabetes. A much healthier alternative is to make homemade ice cream using frozen fruits, pure cocoa, plant-based milk, and natural sweeteners like honey or stevia. This version preserves vitamins, minerals, and fiber while drastically reducing the glycemic impact. The flavor can be adapted to personal taste without compromising health. Another important tip is to consume it in moderation and be mindful of the time of day. Eating ice cream and other sweets early in the day alongside sources of fiber and protein can reduce the glycemic impact compared to eating them alone or at night when metabolism is slower. Therefore, if the goal is to keep blood sugar stable and reduce inflammation in the body, avoiding industrialized ice creams is essential. They represent a momentary pleasure with long-term consequences for metabolism. Choosing natural, balanced versions is a smart way to protect your health while still enjoying the flavor consciously. Number 8. Industrialized juices. Industrialized juices, even those sold as 100% fruit, can be a major enemy of blood sugar. This is because during processing, most of the fiber is removed, leaving behind a liquid rich in fructose and other simple sugars. Without fiber, the absorption of these sugars by the body is extremely fast, causing pronounced glycemic spikes shortly after consumption. Many boxed or bottled juices also contain added sugars or syrups, further increasing the glycemic load. Even when the label says no added sugar, it's important to remember that the natural sugar from fruit, when concentrated, can still be harmful for those with insulin resistance or diabetes. Drinking a glass of industrialized juice often means consuming the sugar of several fruits at once, but without the corresponding nutrients and fiber. Another worrying factor is the use of preservatives, colorings, and artificial flavorings to extend shelf life and intensify flavor. Although they don't add calories, these additives bring no health benefits and can overload the liver. In sensitive people, they may cause headaches, mood changes, and even digestive problems, harming the body's balance. Beyond the glycemic impact, industrialized juices have low nutritional value. During processing, vitamins and natural antioxidants are degraded by heat and storage time. This means that, despite appearing healthy, they offer little or no benefit compared to fresh fruit. Frequent consumption of these juices can also lead to weight gain. Because they're liquids, they don't provide the same satiety as solid food. The result is quick and often excessive calorie intake, which contributes to fat buildup, especially in the abdominal area, a risk factor for metabolic diseases. The healthiest alternative is to choose whole fruits or freshly made juices with the pulp intact. These keep the fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants, ensuring a slower release of glucose into the bloodstream. If sweetening is necessary, natural sweeteners in moderation or mixing with vegetables can help reduce the glycemic index. Another strategy is to replace industrialized juice with naturally flavored water using slices of lemon, orange, or mint leaves. This option hydrates, refreshes, and has no negative impact on blood sugar while encouraging water intake throughout the day. Therefore, if the goal is to keep blood sugar stable and ensure more nutrients in your diet, avoiding industrialized juices is essential. They are a classic example of a product that looks healthy, but in practice, contributes to metabolic imbalances and increases the risk of chronic disease. Choosing fresh, natural versions is always the best path. Number 7. Candies and sweets. Candies and sweets are some of the most problematic foods for blood sugar health, as they are pure sugar in its most concentrated form. Because they are made almost exclusively of sucrose or glucose, they are absorbed extremely quickly by the body, causing immediate glycemic spikes. This sudden rise in blood sugar forces the pancreas to release large amounts of insulin, overloading the metabolic system. The big problem is that these foods contain no fiber, protein, or healthy fats to slow glucose absorption. The result is a sharp drop in sugar levels shortly after, leading to fatigue, irritability, and sudden hunger. This constant cycle of highs and lows promotes insulin resistance and weight gain, especially in the abdominal area. In addition to their direct impact on blood sugar, candies and sweets often contain artificial colors, flavorings, and preservatives that offer no nutritional value and can harm gut microbiota balance. An imbalanced gut affects nutrient absorption and can contribute to systemic inflammation, which in turn further impairs insulin sensitivity. Another concern is that these products are extremely calorie-dense, and because they are small and easy to eat, they encourage overconsumption. It's very common to eat several pieces without noticing, quickly adding up large amounts of sugar and empty calories. This ease of consumption is one of the main reasons why candies and sweets are so harmful. The sugar-free versions are not necessarily healthier. Many use artificial sweeteners that, in excess, can also harm glucose metabolism and cause digestive discomfort. Plus, these products often retain high levels of additives and flavorings, not eliminating their long-term health risks. For alternatives, fresh fruit or unsweetened dried fruit are much more nutritious options. They provide fiber, vitamins, and minerals, releasing energy gradually. Another strategy is to prepare homemade desserts using natural sweeteners and whole ingredients, controlling the sugar content. It's also important to avoid keeping candies and sweets easily accessible, as convenience increases unnecessary consumption. Replacing these snacks with healthy options and keeping pre-washed fruit visible can help change the habit gradually and effectively. Therefore, if the goal is to keep blood sugar under control and prevent metabolic diseases, candies and sweets should be consumed extremely rarely. They are a classic example of momentary pleasure with long-lasting consequences for metabolism. Making smart swaps is a simple yet powerful step toward protecting long-term health. Number 6. Sandwich cookies. Sandwich cookies are one of the most popular snacks, but they're also among the worst foods for blood sugar control. Made with refined wheat flour, excessive sugar, and hydrogenated fats, they combine three elements that rapidly raise blood sugar and promote inflammation in the body. The impact is even more harmful when consumed frequently. In addition to their high glycemic index, these cookies contain trans fats, which damage the cardiovascular system and worsen insulin sensitivity. These harmful fats also raise LDL cholesterol and lower HDL, promoting plaque buildup in the arteries and increasing the risk of heart disease. The filling is another concern. Usually made from refined sugar, low-quality vegetable oils, and artificial flavorings, it adds empty calories with no nutritional value. This combination of simple carbs and bad fats is especially dangerous for anyone aiming to keep blood sugar stable. Sandwich cookies also contain additives like colorings and preservatives, which can contribute to chronic inflammation and liver overload. These effects, combined with excess sugar, make the food a true enemy of metabolism. Another problem is that sandwich cookies are rarely eaten in moderation. Because they're highly palatable and trigger the brain to crave more sugar, it's easy to exceed the recommended amount, resulting in intense glycemic spikes and excessive calorie intake. Even versions labeled as sugar-free or whole grain are not entirely safe. Many still contain refined flours, poor quality oils, and artificial sweeteners that continue to negatively impact metabolism and taste preferences. Reading labels is essential to spot marketing traps. For a substitute, you can make homemade cookies with whole grain flours, nuts, and natural sweeteners like dates or small amounts of honey. These alternatives preserve fiber and nutrients, lowering glycemic impact and offering more satiety. In short, sandwich cookies combine simple carbs, bad fats, and chemical additives, making them a highly harmful food for metabolic health. Avoiding them and opting for natural, homemade options is essential for keeping blood sugar under control and protecting the body. Number 5. White rice. White rice is a staple food in many diets, but it has a high glycemic index, which means it is quickly converted into glucose in the blood. This effect causes blood sugar spikes right after a meal, followed by drops that lead to early hunger and reduced energy. For people with insulin resistance or diabetes, this impact can be even more harmful. The refining process removes the bran and germ from the grain, eliminating essential fiber, vitamins, and minerals. The result is a simple carbohydrate, quickly digested, and with low nutritional value, that provides immediate energy but without lasting satiety. This lack of fiber also prevents a slower release of glucose. When consumed in large amounts and frequently, white rice contributes to weight gain, especially in the abdominal area. This visceral fat is metabolically active, increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease and metabolic syndrome. Eating it alongside other simple carbohydrates amplifies the problem. Additionally, white rice stimulates a high release of insulin, the hormone responsible for transporting glucose into cells. When this release becomes constant, the body can develop insulin resistance, one of the main factors in the development of type 2 diabetes. To reduce the glycemic impact, white rice can be replaced with whole versions such as brown rice or wild rice, which preserve fiber and nutrients. These alternatives help stabilize blood sugar, increase satiety, and provide a more balanced nutritional intake. Another strategy is to combine white rice with proteins, vegetables, and healthy fats such as olive oil. This combination slows digestion and reduces the speed of glucose absorption, minimizing spikes and providing more steady energy throughout the day. Even so, moderation is key. Excessive consumption of white rice, even in balanced combinations, can compromise blood sugar control, especially in diets already high in simple carbs. The amount should be adapted to individual needs. In summary, white rice is practical and versatile, but its high glycemic index and low nutritional value make it a less healthy choice for those who want to keep blood sugar under control. Choosing whole versions and eating it in moderation is essential to preserve metabolic health. Number 4. White potato. The white potato is one of the most consumed vegetables in the world, but its high starch content and high glycemic index make it an unfavorable choice for those looking to control blood sugar. When boiled, baked, or especially fried, it is quickly converted into glucose in the blood, causing sharp sugar spikes. The problem gets worse when potatoes are prepared as mashed potatoes or fried. These methods increase the speed of starch digestion and absorption, intensifying the glycemic impact. In the case of frying, there's also the addition of bad fats, such as refined vegetable oils, which increase inflammation in the body. Although it contains some vitamins and minerals such as vitamin C and potassium, the low fiber content in white potatoes is not enough to offset the rapid rise in glucose. This sets it apart from other vegetables that, although they contain carbs, have a more moderate glycemic impact thanks to their higher fiber content. Eating white potatoes frequently, especially in ultra-processed preparations like potato chips, nuggets, or frozen meals, can contribute to insulin resistance and weight gain. The risk is even greater when they are combined with other simple carbs or sugary sauces. To reduce the glycemic impact, white potatoes can be replaced with options like sweet potatoes, yams, or cassava, which have more fiber and a lower glycemic index. These alternatives release glucose more slowly, helping maintain steady energy and prolong satiety. Another strategy is to eat white potatoes cooled after cooking, which forms resistant starch that partially reduces digestion speed and the glycemic impact. However, even then, consumption should be moderate to avoid significant spikes. It's important to remember that the problem is not just the food itself, but the frequency and context of consumption. Including white potatoes regularly in a diet already high in simple carbs increases metabolic risks and makes blood sugar control harder. In summary, white potatoes are versatile and tasty, but their high glycemic index and low fiber content put them on the list of foods that should be eaten with caution by those wanting to preserve metabolic health. Moderation and smart substitutions are essential. Number 3. White bread. White bread is one of the most commonly eaten foods at breakfast and snack times, but it's made from refined wheat flour, which makes it a fast-absorbing, high-glycemic carb. This means it is converted into glucose in the blood almost immediately after eating, causing sugar spikes followed by sharp drops in energy. The refining process removes the bran and germ from the wheat, eliminating important fiber, vitamins, and minerals. The result is a low-nutrient food that provides quick energy, but without lasting satiety. This lack of fiber also prevents slower glucose absorption, worsening its impact on metabolism. Eating white bread regularly increases the glycemic load of the diet, promoting insulin resistance and the buildup of visceral fat. This type of fat is metabolically active, contributing to chronic inflammation and raising the risk of cardiovascular and metabolic diseases like type 2 diabetes. Another concern is that many industrial breads contain added sugars and refined vegetable oils to improve flavor and texture. This combination of simple carbs and bad fats intensifies the negative effect on blood sugar control and the body's energy balance. Even commercially sold whole grain versions are not always truly healthy. Many use only a small amount of whole flour, with the majority still made from refined flour. This means the glycemic index remains high despite appearing to be a healthier product. To reduce the glycemic impact, white bread can be replaced with 100% whole grain sourdough breads or those made with alternative flours like rye, oat, or almond flour. These options preserve fiber and nutrients, providing more stable energy and greater satiety. Another strategy is to balance bread consumption with sources of protein and healthy fats like eggs, avocado, or low-fat cheese. This combination helps slow glucose absorption, minimizing spikes, and providing longer-lasting energy. In summary, white bread is convenient and tasty, but its high glycemic index, low nutritional value, and presence of additives make it a food that should be eaten with caution. Smart swaps in moderation are essential to preserve metabolic health. Number 2. Soft drinks. Soft drinks, whether with or without sugar, are among the worst beverages for metabolic health. Regular versions contain large amounts of refined sugar, often in the form of high-fructose corn syrup, which is quickly absorbed, raising blood glucose and overloading the pancreas. Just one can exceed the daily sugar limit recommended by the World Health Organization. Frequent consumption of these drinks causes rapid spikes and drops in blood sugar, leading to early hunger and increased calorie intake. This high and low cycle harms metabolism, promotes weight gain, and raises the risk of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Zero or diet versions may seem harmless, but these artificial sweeteners that, while calorie-free, can alter gut microbiota and harm insulin sensitivity. They also maintain the taste preference for extremely sweet flavors, making dietary re-education harder. Another problem is the high concentration of phosphoric acid and caffeine in many of these beverages. These compounds can interfere with calcium absorption, weakening bones and teeth, and in excess, they can overwork the kidneys. This impact is even more concerning for people with osteopenia or osteoporosis. Soft drinks also offer no nutritional value. They are empty calories with no vitamins, minerals, or fiber, competing with healthier drinks like water and unsweetened teas. Replacing hydration with these beverages is a choice that, over time, damages many aspects of health. Drinking them alongside meals rich in simple carbs amplifies the glycemic impact. Blood glucose stays high for longer, increasing the metabolic strain and promoting the buildup of visceral fat linked to heart disease. The best alternative is to prioritize water, sparkling water, infusions, or unsweetened natural juices. For those who struggle to quit soda, reducing consumption gradually and adopting naturally flavored drinks with fruit or herbs can make the transition easier. In summary, soft drinks, whether sugary or not, are ultra-processed beverages with high glycemic or metabolic impact that should be avoided to maintain health and prevent chronic disease. Replacing this habit with natural drinks is an essential step for controlling blood sugar and improving quality of life. Number 1. Corn. Corn is widely consumed in many forms, but it has a high starch content and high glycemic index, meaning it is quickly converted into glucose in the blood. This causes sugar spikes right after consumption, especially when eaten in preparations like boiled corn, canned corn, or products made from corn flour and derivatives. The problem is worse because many corn-based products go through a refining process that removes fiber and essential nutrients. The result is a simple, fast-absorbing carb that raises blood sugar in a way similar to sweets and white bread. This effect is even more harmful for people with insulin resistance or diabetes. Another concern is that corn is present in countless ultra-processed products such as chips, cookies, breakfast cereals, and high-fructose corn syrup. This hidden ingredient significantly increases simple carb intake, often without people realizing it. Even in its natural form, corn should be eaten in moderation by those aiming to control blood sugar. Its low fiber content compared to other vegetables prevents slow sugar release, causing rapid glucose rises. This effect is even stronger in recipes that combine corn with sugar or fat. Despite this, corn does contain some beneficial nutrients, such as antioxidants and B vitamins. However, these benefits don't outweigh its high glycemic impact, especially when consumed often and in large amounts. One strategy to reduce the effects is to combine it with foods rich in fiber, protein, and healthy fats, such as leafy salads and olive oil. This combination helps slow glucose absorption, minimizing spikes. Another alternative is to choose less processed corn variety in small portions, prioritizing homemade preparations without added sugar or refined oils. This way, you can enjoy the flavor without compromising blood sugar balance as much. In summary, corn is versatile and tasty, but its high starch content and elevated glycemic index make it a food that should be eaten with caution by anyone wanting to keep blood sugar stable. Moderation and smart combinations are essential to reduce metabolic risks. And if you want to keep getting the best videos for your health, subscribe to the channel because it exists for one reason only, to make you a healthier person with more quality of life. Helping you is my mission. In the video now on your screen, I reveal the #1 drink to clean your arteries and eliminate bad cholesterol from your blood. Click the screen and check it out.